Happy Independence Day, and you don't need me to tell you that was, of course, Run DMC with the mighty Aerosmith and Walk This Way. And walking this way, see what I did there, baby?
Oh, that's clever.
Walking this way into the studio, fresh off a jumbo jet, if they still call them that, from America, the wonderful Parminder Nagra. Good morning, Paul. Good afternoon,
Good
Parminder.
afternoon.
It's probably good morning for you,
yeah,
though,
it
isn't
is right now, yeah.
So when did you actually get into London?
About like 3 hours ago, I think.
You must feel amazing.
I feel really, really on top form.
May I say, you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you
And it's a huge pleasure to have you here because people know you, of course, for many things. Bend It Like Beckham, Casualty, back in the day.
Oh, my God, yes.
Was it 6 series, or as you might say, seasons of ER?
6 seasons, and I believe it was like 129 episodes of ER.
Blimey. And then, of course, Alcatraz.
Yes.
But you're back here to talk about something very special, very different. I saw it last night. I'm not just saying this because you're here, because if I didn't like it, I'd tell you to get out.
Right.
This great new British sort of gangster slice of social life movie.
Twisty, turny thriller,
And it's actually launching, or part of the launch of the East London Film Festival tomorrow night.
It is. I'm very proud and honoured to be a part of it, and that they've asked me here to come and do, be a part of all the festivities and everything, and I can't wait to see it on the big screen.
Well, the film's called 28K, and it starts in a London club. It's very well shot, almost documentary style, slightly, on the fly, Panaglide or whatever camera they've used.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, how's Parminder going to fit into this? Because I'm sure she's got a party animal side. But was she in there banging it and giving it some mood?
Right.
But no, of course, it's your brother who's involved at the beginning.
Yes.
And without saying too much about the plot is involved in, or accused of at least, a murder.
Yes.
And suddenly we cut to Paris, and you as a high-flying British lawyer based in Paris, who then has to come back on the Eurostar to defend him.
Yes.
So in that way, it's not just a London or a British film, it's a sort of European movie.
It really is. It's very, just even with the music choices that have been made on the movie, it's very, things are really allowed to breathe. It's very noir. It is a very European movie, and I hope people enjoy it.
What particularly intrigued me about it as well is, I love, as British films, The Long Good Friday.
Yes.
And what's brilliant about The Long Good Friday is, and it's obviously intentional, they used the growth of Docklands as the backdrop to it, and it almost says this is a London that's changing, and this is a kind of gangster London that's fading away.
Yes.
Now this film, 28K, brilliantly uses the fact that we're about to get the Olympics.
Right.
So even the fact you've come from Paris, somehow says, well, the French didn't get it, we've got it.
Yeah.
And the whole backdrop of that is, it's almost there as a subtext that London is changing.
Yeah, it almost sort of becomes like the fourth character in the movie. It is beautifully shot, and I love all those images of the East End, and even me coming back and seeing what the East End has turned into was pretty amazing. And also the questions that raises, the politics of that, what that is, and hoping that it's doing good and all of those things, which one hopes that it is. So.
And how was it making this film? Obviously, great movie, small budget, one would imagine, compared to some of the series you've been in.
Yeah.
How was that as a working environment, that comparison between not a lot of dough and then big budget Hollywood TV series?
I just think both of these things have very fast working pace, and I think to a certain extent I'm actually quite used to it, and I like that. I like the fact that you have to come prepared with whatever you're doing, and I just love that whole thing. There's not much waiting around. You just get in there, you get on, and you get down and dirty, and that's exactly what this film is.
And this film it's got some legal dialogue in it, but nothing is anywhere near as complicated, I imagine, as some of the medical stuff you had to spout in ER.
God.
How did you learn that stuff? And it's like with Hugh Laurie. You guys are fantastic for sounding convincing. I'm thinking, but she's never looked at somebody the wrong way through a stethoscope or any of that stuff in real life.
You believe it or not, I actually used to rap some of the dialogue in terms of how I had to learn it.
Things like endoscopies and all these weird things?
I can't. And the worst thing was that because I got better and better at saying it, Parminder's pretty good at saying it, so we'll fling more her way. And of course, I was like, fantastic. So I became the person who was really good at doing it. But it was hard. And I remember just used to pace around, my bedroom. How on earth do I get this dialogue out?
And how did that come about? Obviously, I'd imagine there's a pilot season in America, but there's also must be a huge audition process for you to get into something as long established as ER, as important to the network as ER.
It was the most bizarre sequence of events. I was on a press junket for Bend It Like Beckham, and I went in to meet the producer of ER, and he literally in the room said, "How do you fancy doing some ER? It's not the way things are supposed to happen." And before I knew it, my life changed like in 2 months, and I was flying out to the States, and I've been there for like nearly 9 years. It's a little bit...
9 years?
9 years.
It's just what we've laid on for you for Independence Day, a Twinkie and a Reese
Did.
peanut butter revolting looking cupcake fang.
It looks like it's full of probably lots of corn syrup stuff. I don't know. I've never actually seen a Twinkie before, I'll be quite honest with you.
How have you never seen a Twinkie before? You've been there for 9 years.
I've heard of a Twinkie.
You thought they were like a myth or a golden legend?
I
get
just
like a
thought it was
unicorn.
something that people had in their childhood in the States. I didn't know that they still existed. You sure this is not from some bygone era or something?
Oh, listen, they're good
It's
for
just
like
the
40
mouldy
years.
Hey, baby,
Twinkies from
check,
like...
check the sell-by date, baby. We don't have to do any kind of
exactly.
respiration
Yeah.
on you or anything.
But Reese's, of course, yes.
And it's a cliche question, but it's never stopped me in the past. Did you miss much from this country when you were based over there? Because you're from Leicester, I think, originally, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, and the biggest thing is my friends and family you miss. And I just, even coming back to do this movie, it's so nice just to be around familiar accents. And there's a real shorthand to that, and you just can't beat that. So it's, I do miss that. And it's nice to be asked back, and I would do so more often if, given the opportunity.
Well, Balin gets care packages from his mom in Tennessee. Did you
Do
get
you?
stuff sent
Yeah.
out? Did relatives come out with stuff?
Well, yeah, it was mostly PG tips and things like that, but I mean, I can get those anywhere now, but like chapati flour, or my mum sent the weirdest concoction, and I don't even know how my sister got this through, but it was some Indian thing that's supposed to help your immune system, but it was like a huge bucket of this stuff that my sister had to haul through, but somehow she did. But it was very helpful, I have to
She
say.
smuggled a bucket of liquid slop onto a plane despite all the terrorist
Right.
concerns. Wow.
Well, a bit of, I'm sure it had garam masala or something like that in it.
And have you had to learn new skills, apart from obviously getting your tongue around these tongue-twisting medical things? Have they trained you in anything extra? Have you learnt new stuff as being in the movies and TV series over there?
I guess, one of the things I realised was, especially on ER, is when you're overlapping, when you're doing dialogue, I feel like sometimes in the UK it's like you really sort of wait for the other person to finish, but they write...
It's called politeness,
Well,
our American cousins. Courtesy.
Actually, you know what, I have nothing to say to that, because you're absolutely right.
No, in fact, it's interesting because the first time it really happened in the movies was when Orson Welles did it. He trained in radio
Right.
when he did Citizen Kane. And you're right, it's the thing we do in real life. We interrupt or cross over each other.
Right, and it's very real, but they write the dialogue like that, like side by side, and I remember sat in a room full of British actors, and all of a sudden they were waiting for your dialogue. No, you're supposed to say it at the same time.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry.
Right.
I was waiting for you to finish.
It was, yeah, exactly, you're right, it's correct.
In conversation with Parminder Nagra, whose fantastic film 28K opens tomorrow night, launching the East London Film Festival. More to come right now, though. An absolute soul classic from the 60s, Irma Thomas.